Hello. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the live. I'm so excited that you guys are watching the replay. And if you are here coming into the live, make sure you guys say hey down below. How are you doing today? Today we're going to be talking about an interesting topic, divorce. This was a chosen topic by my audience. So I'm interested to talk about it. I did find some interesting things to discuss when it comes to this, and I do have an overall, if this is the means, if this is what's going on here, this is the number one reason why you should exit a marriage. So before we start off, I would like to say hello, everybody. My name is Meiana. I like to talk about all things that I'm interested in because I enjoy manifesting. I enjoy manifesting through intentionality. I like to have gratitude, and the one way that you have gratitude is through awareness. It's hard to be grateful for things that you don't want. And when you build awareness to all the things around you, you have more things to be grateful for. So that is what I'm here for, is to give more information about the topics that we are interested in. Right now, we are talking about marriage. Last time we talked about, what was it? Leisure time. And next time, who knows what it will be. Up to you guys, whatever you guys want to talk about. Make sure that if you are interested in booking a free 15-minute consultation, go ahead and book it down below in the description. I am supporting men who want to be in healthy relationships, who want more for themselves, and who want to feel more deserving of the life that they desire. So now that we said all of that, I'm super excited to get into our topic today. I'm going to go ahead and put a question. YouTube is acting up again today. Hello. YouTube is acting up. It picks and chooses. I don't know. When will they fix this bug? Okay. Have you considered divorce? Let's see who's actually married in the chat today. Yes. No. Never been married. Okay. Hey y'all, how y'all doing on this beautiful Sunday? I'm from America. How y'all doing today? I'm an American, y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all doing on this wonderful Sunday. Where are y'all from? Hi. Hello. Hello. Thank you, Tui. Thank you, Mr. Mirror. Why is it a weird question? The topic we're talking about today is divorce. What makes it weird? Hi. Hello. So if you guys are new here, I know a lot of people are coming in. You guys are new here. You're not a part of my consistent audience who watch my videos. Then you would not understand what we're talking about and why we're talking about it. We're talking about marriage because we want to manifest healthier marriages, right? The way we manifest healthier marriages is by understanding what's going on so that we can be intentional. So if you guys are not interested in this topic, that is okay. But this is why we're talking about it. Thank you guys. Just so you guys know, I am someone who would vote never been married. I discuss this because I want to be prepared for marriage. And the way that you prepare for marriage is by knowing all of what your possibilities are. Okay. My son just jumped and knocked down my stuff. So let me fix this real quick. How y'all doing today? Y'all let me know. My girl won't marry. Should I leave her? Is that what you want? Do you want to be married? If you want to be married and she doesn't want to marry you, then that does sound like a reason to break up. Sounds like a reason to break up, y'all. Thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, Alina. Yeah, make sure y'all double tap the live, y'all. Double tap and like the live so we can get more people like you. Hello, Kenneth. Hello, everybody. Hey, Sweet James. Are you trying to get married? I'm not trying to. If it happens, it happens. But I am being more intentional. So I am thinking more about it. But I'm not trying to at this very moment. Hey, Blue. Hey, hello, Hassan. You said I'm 20. Whenever I say hi to a girl, the conversation ends. I don't know what to say next. What should I do? By the way, I'm currently taking multivitamins. Any suggestions? Oh my God. Tarun, my suggestion would be to go to one of those like Comic-Con, what do they call it? Go play more video games, because I'm looking at your picture. You got what, Roblox in there? So you like to play Roblox. So you still in a certain mindset. So go ahead and go to some video game tournaments. It may be a lot of men there, but you have a chance of meeting a woman, maybe. Go online to adult groups. You are 20, so you want to be careful because you are interested in, different things. Go online, see if you can find any adult Roblox chats, adults who are interested in video games. Go and see about that. That's what I would say. Every man needs to have a prenup. Do you think marriage is a necessary thing? No, it's not necessary. Not everybody needs to be married. Damien, okay. Hey, Damien, welcome back. You said never for once consider divorce. Okay. How to impress a beggar's wife. Why do you want to impress somebody else's wife? Hello, Anon. Thank you, Mr. Mirror. I've been in this live for a while. The live just started, Prima. The live just started. I don't even know what's your question. How y'all doing today? Let's see what y'all talking about so far. You don't need... Hey, Jabron. Hey, friend. Welcome back. Hey, Clash. Welcome back. 7-year anniversary. Congratulations. That's beautiful. Welcome back, Dr. Zeus. Hi, Hadaz. So 60%, most people are saying they've never been married. 26% said yes, and 14% said no. You don't want to break my heart. My heart is very hard to break. You can't break it. I don't play video games. I don't play any type of video games, y'all. But we get into the 10-minute mark. Make sure y'all like the live before we get started. I want to start off by something interesting that I found. And I want this to be the first topic because I was trying to do a little bit of research for y'all by watching different videos. And it's so funny to me how it was so easy. I don't know if it's just my algorithm, if YouTube was not allowing me to find the videos, but it was very easy for me to find women on TikTok who talk about why they got divorced and why they were so tired of being married and why they would never get married again, or even women who are like they regret getting a divorce. Like, it was so easy for me to find the women who spoke out about it, but it was a little bit more difficult for me to find men who spoke out about why they got divorced. That at most what I found was a video of a man who does like divorce support groups, and in the comments it was a lot of comments of men who talked about divorce. So I think women definitely, I guess it's probably more natural. Women definitely find it easier to speak out about what's going on for them. Speak slowly. I speak too fast. Oh. Men have to stop chasing women. How you gonna find a husband? Maybe that's in your area, but men always chase women around me. Okay. I will try to speak a little slow. I cannot help speaking fast because I'm an American and I do forget that not everybody's first language is English, but I may forget and I may speed up again. Okay, we're getting a lot of votes today. Y'all must like the thumbnail. YouTube is pushing the thumbnail today. YouTube is pushing the live today. Shout out to YouTube. So I wanted to start off because I do have a lot of different things that I wanted to talk about. Where is my stuff? It's so much, honestly. But I wanted to talk about some of the time frames where people get the most divorce. So one of the things that I saw is, of course, people mostly get divorced when they're younger. So the highest is if they get married below the age of 25. Obviously, that makes sense. That makes sense for that to be a high time frame for people who get divorced. You've been divorced on marriage number 2. The first marriage can be considered a practice marriage. And GR, that's why they say don't be a man's first wife. That's why they say that for the ladies out there. Don't be the first wife. So we'll see. But the reason why is because obviously below the age of 25, and the young people are going to be a little bit more immature. They're going to have financial instability more likely. And then they're still figuring out who they are. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with people who get married is not everybody, of course, but one of the things that I keep seeing is people who do not know who they are and what they want for themselves before getting married. Hey, D Savage. Before getting married, I think that's one of the worst things that you could do for yourself is get married without knowing who you are. Because autonomy is one of the biggest factors in why a lot of relationships end. Because it's two people and then you have one person who's no longer autonomous and then they start to feel whatever. Hey, Tyler. Hey, Booga. Right? So if you plan to get married below the age of 25, me personally, I've seen a couple of people who I known who got married under the age of 25 and they have a lot of marital issues. It's a lot of cheating that I've seen. Maybe not a lot, but it does occur that I've seen at least with young people who get married, they cheat because they haven't had the time to explore themselves, their sexuality, what they like, what they want from their partners. And so I think that kind of ties into the immaturity. So I would be very weary of anybody who decides to get married below the age of 25. On top of that, your brain is not developed. Your brain does not even fully develop until about 25. And then you still have to settle into a developed brain around 25, 26, 27. Like your brain is still settling in. This is what's happening, right? So if you are out here and you are, thinking about marriage, don't get married below the age of 25. And if you are getting married below the age of 25, make sure you have a strong family support system. And if you don't have a strong family support system, don't do it. Okay. Okay, girl. Cyclic said they looking for rich women. Okay, girl. I'm trying to get like you. Okay, period. D Savage. At the end of the day, I think that, and this is why we're going to have the conversation of there's different types of relationships, different types of marriages. Hi, Oscar. And if that is what you want, I want everybody to get what they want in this lifetime. Hey, Rorico, life is super generous to those who do well, who are well to themselves, who think well. Like, if you want to have multiple women, there are multiple women out there who will allow you to be with other women. Like, if you go watch a video, like, what is it called? It's something on YouTube. It's called something like Something Love. It's a channel. And all it talks about is different types of relationships. Please don't force yourself to be in a relationship that you don't think you can manage. So that was just the first one, right? You said at younger age, it can be lust over logic. Exactly. You said setting pride aside can be challenging. That's facts. Facts. Hola. Hey, y'all. You said your girl got way more bread than you. Oh, my. Is that a good thing or is that like it don't matter? You said thoughts on homosexual marriage. I mean, there's no thoughts. It's still marriage. It's still people partnering up. So communication and emotional intelligence has been my weakness. We've been together since college. In my experience, when things got bad, something would eventually break and we would restart. Okay, and y'all got together when y'all was young too. Interesting. Hey, Big Sean Dog. Okay. Hello, Kagu. Hello, Harushu. We got 77 votes, y'all. Okay, y'all. So the next one is around 28 to 32. The divorce rates, if you married within that time, divorce rates lower. That does not mean just because you get married between the age of 28 and 32, that does not mean that you're going to have the perfect wedding. That just means that in the studies, the divorce rates lower when you get married around that age. Why? I think, I'm into astrology, so I think about Saturn returns. Around that time, a lot of people learn a lot of lessons. A lot of things come into like a cyclical, like conclusion around that age range. And on top of that, your brain is developed. You are more into whatever career and interest that you have for your life. You have your hobby set up. You have your everything is more set up because you're no longer a child. You've been an adult for a while. You got your life going in whatever direction and you are moving in a direction, right? So if you are interested in getting married, that is a better time to get married, is around 28 to 32. Now, another thing that I saw is that around 35 plus, that's when divorce rates tend to rise a little bit. That does not mean that just because you get married over the age of 35, you're going to get divorced. It just shows that in these studies, divorce rates rise just a little bit if you get married over the age of 35. And that's because people are more independent around that time. When you are in your late 20s, early 30s, you're still figuring it out for yourself. You still figuring out things for yourself and figuring out what where you're going, but you still have direction. But by the time you're 35 years old plus, you have better direction. You're more independent. You have your identity set up compared to when you're younger. So you could possibly you could be less adaptable, right? You could be less wanting to change things and compromise things when it comes to being in a relationship. So that does not mean that you shouldn't get married over the age of 35. What that means is that if you're 35 plus and you planning to get married, you have to figure out how you're going to adapt to being with somebody else. So those are some of the things that and this is when people get married, right? If you get married below the age of 25, you have a very high rate of getting divorced. If you get married between the age of 28 to 32, it's going to be a little bit more stable. The divorce rate's lower for people who get married within that age range. And then 35 plus, it rises a little bit, right? So pay attention to when did you get married? When you got married, this is what I want people who are married and who are considering divorce to think about. Who was I at the time of when I got married? How old was I? Did I know what I wanted for myself? Did I have direction? Those are the things that I want people who are married considering divorce to think about. American said marriage is for people that were raised in church and their parents and grandparents were married. Very interesting. So now the second thing that I saw before we get into more information about marriage, the second thing that I saw when I was doing my boots on the ground research, watching people's videos, is hormonal shifts. So I've seen a lot of people talk about, me and my wife been married for 15, 20, 30 years. And now we're like 40 something years old. And it just all of a sudden there's a divorce. All of a sudden she just wants to get a divorce and she just left me. Like, it's a couple of things that I saw, like different, a woman's story versus a man's story. And most of the time men are like, I don't know what happened. She just up and left me one day. And then woman's story is like, oh my God, I've been dealing with this for 2 years and I've been struggling by myself. He's so this, and this, and I just couldn't deal with it no more. And I've been trying to do da da da, and I just had to go. Right. So it's so funny to me how the different stories are when it comes to these relationships. I'm trying to find, I have so many notes in here, and I know I have notes about the hormonal shifts. So I'm trying to figure out where I put it, where it's at in all this information, y'all. So if y'all are married, what age did y'all get married? You said you suggest marriage counseling before getting married because it allows for everyone to know their role regardless of how they feel. Okay. And Ryzen said communication is key, period. So half of the people in the chat have never been married, but 24% said no, they've never considered divorce, and 21% said yes, they have considered divorce. So I think that's very interesting. Shout out to India. I honestly can't go through heartbreak, so I keep a few girlfriends. Okay. Self-awareness is key. Oh, here we go. Self-awareness is key. Okay. There we go. So, one of the biggest things that I found very interesting when doing this research is, hey Southern girl, welcome back, baby, is the fact that a lot of people, when they get around 40 years old, that's when they start getting divorced, and it's like a complete shift. So around 40 to 50 is when perimenopause and menopause occur for women. So that shift, that's a hormonal shift that is occurring in women. That is an internal shift in their body that's affecting their mind and body. And it's little things like, I know that women who go through menopause, they start getting hot flashes, right? Thank you guys. They start getting hot flashes and stuff. Their mood start to fluctuate. Their estrogen in their body, which is a more feminine hormone, starts to decrease, right? Their libido lowers sometimes. Their sleeps get disrupted, and they start to have more anxiety, and they start to have more irritability. And I can understand why. If I was getting hot flashes, I would be irritated too. You know, we got to be empathetic. Okay, so Raylan, you said my parents are divorced, but I've never been married. James, you said I'm 44 and I've never been married. Interesting. Interesting. So what happens is that they become a little bit more emotionally sensitive, their patience lowers, and conflict can increase. It makes sense. If you are hot all the time, wouldn't you be a little bit more annoyed, right? If it was just random heat flashes that you could not control because it's inside of your body, you will probably be a little bit annoyed too, right? So let's have empathy for individuals going through 40 to 50, especially if you are their partner, whether you are a man or a woman and you are a partner with a woman who is 40 to 50 going through menopause or perimenopause, you have to be a little bit more empathetic. Especially because their sex drive changed. They may be a little bit more uncomfortable and emotionally distant because they're going through a process that's shifting their identity. When you're so used to having an identity, and then around 40 to 50, it completely changes because of hormonal shift, you're going to act differently. So what happens is a lot of women experience a psychological awakening. Hi, Hatasha, my head. Welcome back, friend. A lot of women go through this awakening, right? And they want to redefine who they are. You say you 18 and gonna divorce soon. Interesting. They want to redefine who they are. And they want to feel a sense of autonomy because their reproductive hormone shifts. And that can really spark a reevaluation of the marriage and their emotional reciprocity that is going on. Thank y'all. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for your compliments. I appreciate it. 1 second, y'all. Okay. Hello, Joseph. How y'all doing today? So that's for women. And there was a study done that showed, and this was in 2014. It showed a link to perimenopausal hormone changes to increase depressive symptoms and identity reevaluation in women. A factor correlated with marital dissatisfaction. So these have you 25 and never been married, feel so blessed. You should be feeling blessed. You shouldn't be married below the age of 25. I don't get it. I'm not married, y'all. So for men, they have something similar. It's called andropause for men. So around 40 to 45, this is when this occurs. And their testosterone decreases. So that's why you see a lot of men calm down a little bit around 40 to 45, because their testosterone, the thing that is correlated to their masculinity, decreases. And so this is a hormonal shift as well, and it causes fatigue, reduced sexual desire or sexual performance, mood changes, and increased irritability. So if you get married, you and your partner both in y'all's 40s, right? Y'all both got married, and now y'all both going through hormonal shifts around y'all's 40s. Wouldn't that make sense as to why two individuals have a difficulty maintaining their marriage? James said, that's why I'm tired. That's why you tired, because you're going through hormonal shifts. So this is the male menopause, andropause, y'all. So men may cope with lower self-esteem or vitality by seeking external validation, or sometimes through work obsession or infidelity. So you in your 40s to 45, right? You're going through a hormonal shift. You married. Your woman, you in your mind, what's happening is those hormones start talking to you. It's like the devil on your shoulder. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I just want to get out of here. Just let me break free from this. Oh my goodness. And then guess what? As a man, you start looking at other women. Then you see what's trending online, right? It's trending online. Everybody's talking about go get a young girl. The young girl, she's going to validate me. I'm going to leave my marriage because it's no longer working for me. And this is all happening because of hormonal shifts. Hormonal shifts are happening. I go walks, not married. I go on walks, not married. Okay. We got 111 votes today, y'all. So again, when men are going through these hormonal shifts, there's an emotional withdrawal or decreased communication can arise from unacknowledged physiological stress. Understand that, especially if you live in different countries like America, where the food that we eat is so unhealthy and it is already affecting us hormonally, these things could possibly start at an earlier time, right? It doesn't just have to start around 40. These things can start earlier because the food is affecting us in the way our hormones work. So I would say, you could be going through hormonal shifts even earlier if the food that you eat. And I always tell you guys, especially men, that the food in America, if it's not healthy, sugarless food, is already affecting your testosterone. It's already affecting your ability to be masculine already if you're eating American food every single day. So already you're going to be having hormonal issues if you don't have a healthy diet. Understand that. So it's already going to be affecting your self-esteem, right? It's already going to be affecting your sexual drive and your sexual performance if your meals is not supporting your hormones, okay? Gotta eat smarter. Exactly. So, girl, there we go. Thank y'all. If y'all see somebody saying crazy stuff, let me know, because I'm not seeing everything and I'm just blocking y'all. Okay. Hey, Lucifer, not Chatty Patty. Boy, I'm not about to play with you. So, another study in 2011 found a declining testosterone linked with reduced relationship satisfaction and increased conflict perception in aging men. So, again, you got two people. If y'all both in y'all's 40s, or one of you guys is in your 40s, you're going to have a difficulty maintaining your relationship at that time due to hormonal shifts. So what needs to happen is you're going to have an increase of communication if you want to maintain your marriage. If you are in your 40s, you're going to have an increase of communication when you are in your 40s. Because things are actually changing. Your identity is changing. Who you are, who you've seen yourself as. You've been a man all your life. Now you get into your 40s, your testosterone decreases. You're going to shift your identity with your masculinity, right? How you perceive your masculinity is going to shift. That's why you be seeing some of these old men be trying to compete with the younger man. You be like, oh, I'm still a man, trying to run a marathon, trying to compete with young men. It's like, no, let's transition through our age gracefully, okay? So, around that time, if you are dating someone, if you're married to someone in their 40s, you have to communicate. So, because y'all are going through identity changes at the same time, y'all have to be more aware about what's going on. So, if emotional or sexual needs shift out of alignment, couples may misinterpret biological changes as loss of love rather than an evolution of connection. And when marriages have strong emotional literacy, that means you guys are aware of your emotions. You guys can communicate. You guys can decode what's happening in your communication. These changes deepen intimacy where they lack it. The stress compounds existing fracture, and it makes it a second wave of high divorce rates if you guys are not able to communicate around those times. I'm drained in all those ways. 10 years failed relationship and had stepdaughter as well. I don't have any desire to even think about a woman. Completely drained me. Dang. Bye, D Savage. I'm sorry for you, friend. Everyone like and subscribe. Thank y'all for the 37 likes. It's a good Sunday. It's a good Sunday, y'all. It's a good Sunday. So y'all have to communicate. And actually at the same time, if you guys are in your 40s, you're in a partnership, I would suggest, this is my suggestions, is to have more conversations about shared diets, have more conversations about shared exercise routines, because we know already that couples who have shared leisure time together, it maintains their relationship. It's a glue to their relationship. So I would say around this time, increase your shared leisure time with your partner in regards to y'all's health and hormonal shifts. Health and hormonal shifts. But remember, I was really talkative. That's why. Okay. Hey, Sebin. You said partnerships for gay people. Friend, you got a lot of beliefs. You got a lot of beliefs. A lot of beliefs. That's all I can say. A lot of beliefs. So yes, hormonal shifts can cause midlife divorce. But it's not the sole cause of it. Just because y'all are going through hormonal shifts does not mean that's the sole cause. It just kind of amplifies what's going on in y'all's relationship and any disconnections that y'all have. And it's kind of like it shines a light on it and it makes it bigger than what it was already. So I would say, you have to do a little bit of a deep reflection when it comes to where are you in your life. When you're thinking about divorce, think about, who am I right now? What's going on with me physically? What's going on with me emotionally? All of these things, right? So these are things to think about before you get divorced. What age did I get married? Who was I when I got married? Did I want to compromise, or was I too young to know right from wrong? Was I too young to know who I was? Right? That's going to say a lot about whether divorce should be occurring or not. Second thing, what hormonal shifts am I going through? right? Especially women who get pregnant, right? What hormonal shifts are me or my partner going through? Is it pregnancy shifting our hormonal shifts, or is it just the fact that we're going through menopause or andropause that's shifting that, right? Men don't go through no damn hormonal shifts. What? Lucifer, do your research, friend. Look it up. Look up andropause. You going through it right now, chatty patty. That's why you so chatty. Your testosterone is decreasing. You so chatty on here, friend. Okay. So that was the first thing that I was really interested in. Can we talk about drastic change in the wife's behavior months into the marriage? Once things get comfortable and routine, the same woman who was your lover turns into a bitter competitor. Tell me more. What is she competing for? What is the prize? Shooting back. Don't play with me, Lucifer. Hey, Johnny. Johnny Farewell. So, your husband just left you, girl. What he say? Why was the reason? And that's another thing. Women, they say that women are more likely to leave their relationships compared to men. But my nose is all over the place, y'all. So I apologize if y'all like, girl, are you being honest in the chats? And did you beat your mama up? Did you beat your mama up? That would have been the first thing I would have did. So the general trend is that women who marry very young, under the age of 23, have the highest divorce risk of any demographic group, and men who marry after 35 to 40 show a greater rise in divorce risk than women of the same age, primarily due to lifestyle, social isolation, and fewer emotional adjustment patterns. Some women may reduce sexual activity once married, in my opinion. Really? Okay, Lucifer, I accept your apology today. I don't talk to your mom anymore. Oh, you being for real? You gotta beat your mama up. We gotta go find your mama and beat her up, because that's not okay. You have not married before, but I know marriage is a good thing. Just sometimes people fall into the wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like after marriage, because I seen this one guy, he made a video and he was buying like roses and like chocolates and stuff. And he said that this woman made a comment to him like, oh, you must be trying to get married, or you must be trying to like do something with your girl. And he was like, no, I'm trying to get some head. That's what he said. I'm trying to get some head. He's like, I'm married. This is how I get head. So like, I feel like you have to, once you get married, because there is a sense of things being very like usual, people get used to things, you have to kind of shift how you go about doing things. Like it can't be like an expected, like, okay, we married, so now it's gone, I can flick the cooch anytime, right? You gotta be like, okay, let me go build something. Y'all know women get turned on by men building stuff. I'm telling y'all the secrets. Women get turned on by men building stuff and working real hard. So go fix something. Go fix something around the house. Go cut the yard. Now, I don't know about the women. You know, women are women. I can't help y'all change the woman that y'all with. But if you doing your part, that's what matters. If your woman's not doing her part, then that says a lot about who she is. You a lesbian now. That seemed like a drastic turn. Was you lesbian before the marriage? Mow the lawn. Transgender? What are y'all talking about? We got over 128 votes today, y'all. Oh, very interesting. So culturally, y'all know we like to talk about culture. So in collectivist cultures like India, Nigeria, or in China, later marriages for women, so that's around 27 to 29, later after that age, can increase social and family pressure. So, you know, around 27 to 29 years old, people like, why are you not married in a collectivist culture? They like, you need to get married, you need to go get some babies. But reduce divorce risk because of stronger kinship. So if women are getting married after the age of 29, they're going to be more pressured to get married, but they're probably going to stay married longer if they are in a collectivist culture. But in individualistic culture, so that's like United States, United Kingdom, Lucifer. What are we talking about? We don't talk about the those things on the channel. Oop, oop, no, hold up. Lucifer, my friend. Hold up. I'm trying to delete the comment. I'm only deleting the comments because people who watch the video later, I don't want them to see this comments. You said disagree with all the response of what a man needs to do for a woman. Well, tell me, why do you disagree? What makes you disagree? What should it be in return? I'm just letting y'all know I'm not talking to women. I'm talking to men right now. Just so y'all know. The audience that I'm directing this message to is men, not women. Yes, Lucifer, you can't say stuff like that. So in individualistic cultures like United States, United Kingdom, Canada, there's a such thing called a freedom gap, and that delays men's marriage more than women. So that leads to male-female age gaps of 2 to 3 years at their first marriage. And the mild gap does not predict divorce. Larger gaps, 7+ years, tend to increase. So they're basically saying age gaps in individualistic societies tend to be a more pinpoint of when people are getting divorced. So whether they're 2 to 3 years of age gap in the marriage versus 7+ years. And then for women, stability rises once identity and career foundations are in place, which I think is very interesting because if you're young, let's say you're in your 20s, you don't have your career, you don't have your identity figured out, who you want to be in this life, the direction that you want, and then you get married. On top of you getting married, you go and you have children. Now your identity is far from who you are as an individual. Your identity is associated with the people around you, the children you take care of, the husband that you're with, right? So that does affect how your marriage is going to turn out if you're not autonomous. And one of the biggest things I want people to remember when it comes to marriage is autonomy is very important. Autonomy is going to dictate a lot more compared to people who are codependent. And that's a whole different conversation that we're going to talk about. So for men, stability rises after emotional regulation and purpose alignment mature. So we want to be two stable people who come into partnership, not two chaotic people who feel like partnership is going to be the stable part of them, right? No, it's going to be you, two separate autonomous people coming together to build a union, right? That's why we want to get married. We want to build a union, whether that is to have children, to create generational legacy, to create, to pass down the generational inheritance, whatever it is. We want to have a reason as to why we get married. So again, in both, there's a shared maturity and values alignment that matters more than the age, but the timing of readiness differs biologically, socially, and culturally, right? Hey, girl. Hey. So let me see what you're talking about. This is interesting to me because as a person who likes to study people from all walks of life and how they acquiesce through their career, I've never considered their hormonal shifts in man. Me neither. Me neither, because they don't talk about the hormonal shifts in men unless it's like teenagers or something, young man, not older man, young man. So these are things that you really want to think about before you get divorced, is really what's going on around me. what was happening when we got married. Now, I was looking at the comments because I couldn't find men who actually talk about why they get divorced on TikTok. I mean, I didn't really do TikTok. I was just looking on YouTube when I looked at it. But a lot of men in the comments had a few things to say. Here, where's my stuff? No. What? Okay. Thank you to my moderators. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. So it was a couple of things that I saw, right? So there were some common emotional themes of deep pain and loss. They're like 17 years down the drain, 20, somebody said they've been divorced for 20 years and it still feel like yesterday. There was shock and confusion, some men were saying that they were left during very detrimental times of their life, whether they just lost a job or they just lost health. They had health issues. Some of those things. So they're saying some of them was like in shock that their wife left them during vulnerable times, financial hardships and stuff like that. Some of the men, they were talking about coping and recovery. So they were talking about things that helped them get over the divorce, whether that was exercising more, going outside, taking walks, praying, or, looking more into self-improvement rather than being bitter. Some of the men were also focused on their children. So they felt like, okay, now that I've gotten a divorce, they feel a separation from their children. So men frequently say not seeing their kids was worse than losing their marriage, which is a possibility depending on, where you live, who you are, what's going on. That when you lose your marriage, there will be a separation in either like where your family stays, how you and your family interacts, holidays, all those things. There will be a shift in how you deal with your children. Okay, Alexander, thank you, friend. And then some of them are like, well, my children motivate me to be better. Now, we do have to recognize that I found these comments in a video on YouTube that was directed towards men getting divorced. And it was kind of like a support group for them in a way. This is going to be a different type of audience from another individual who may be divorced, right? So when we look at this, we want to pay attention to who are the people going online for support, right? This is going to be a different type of man compared to a man who got divorced and probably was an asshole. And he's not going to take accountability, or he's not going to be seeking support. He's just going to keep doing what he does, right? So we want to be weary to not say that this is every man's perspective when I discuss what these men are saying. This is a certain type of man's perspective, okay? Same when I talk about what the women were saying, right? So some of the men even are a little bit, they don't ever want to get married again. They feel like being married was a terrible experience. They don't want to do it again. And they feel like that, this is one thing that I saw. This is one of the things that I saw that I thought was very interesting is somebody said a man sacrifices himself for his family's happiness and a woman sacrifices her family for hers. And I think that this is so deep. This is a very deep quote that I've heard more than once looking into this stuff. And I think it says a lot about both parties. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So you just out here trying to make people divorce, huh? No. So, the comments often imply that men feel discarded or undervalued once they're no longer useful or healthy in their marriage. And also, they talk a lot, especially in this video, they talked a lot. Okay, I'm gonna repeat it. They talk a lot about how the community is what supported them during this transition that they're going through, right? So the tone, they talk about pain, self-discipline, acceptance, and empowerment. That's kind of the tone of the people in that particular YouTube comment video, right? So there's a lot of things in the quote that was said was, where was it? Hold on, where did I just go? Okay, so the quote that it says, "A man sacrifices himself for his family's happiness. A woman sacrifices her family for hers." So that was a quote. Another thing that the man talked about after divorce was loneliness and social isolation. So a lot of men dealt with loneliness and just changing their whole view on marriage. We just seen somebody comment earlier saying that this was a terrible experience and they don't even want to think about women in marriage again. So this is something that is occurring with the man: grief, betrayal. They have to focus on self-discipline as a form of therapy. They're thinking about their loneliness and isolation. They're thinking about their identity change. Some of them are thinking about their spiritual beliefs. Some of them are thinking about their identity with fatherhood and their legacy. And some of them are just coming into an acceptance, right? So there's a lot of things that the men were kind of dealing with when it came to them getting a divorce. Now, when I was watching a couple of women's videos, you're not going to find many men who are willing to share this information because men deal with loss and pain of loss differently than women. Yeah, loss. That's why I was saying when it came to women, the women, it was easier to find videos on YouTube of women talking about it versus men. It was more of, okay, when I found these men's comments, it was a man who posted about supporting men going through divorce, and then in the comments, the men commented their experience. So if you guys are interested in, some type of support, I will go to the comments of divorce videos dedicated to men. That's where you'll find the men speaking out more often. Now for women, and I didn't do as much of looking in a comment section because there was a lot of videos that women talked about these things. A lot of women talked about for years, they were dealing with the same situation for years. And we know that one of the marriage indicators to a satisfied marriage is how long it takes to get over conflict in a marriage. So if it takes a long time to get over conflict, that's when resentment, that's when a lot of marital issues and things start to build up. Versus if you guys know how to have conflict resolution and be on the same page and work together, that is how you guys can overcome and move over quicker. So it seemed like a lot of women had an issue with certain things that they wanted to occur in their marriage and they were never able to get over it. So the conflict resolution never occurred. Communication may have happened, but it did not change anything. And then over a certain period of time, with no change, it seemed like women got upset, and then that's when they decided to leave. It took a minute to get over the hurt, though, for real. So yeah, and then we talked about in our last video the importance of forgiveness in marriages, especially. So there's a lot. As a married individual, you're held to a higher standard because you're seen as more responsible. So there is a responsibility of learning how to work with an external person outside of you to get over conflict and work together to work towards your main goal. So for women, hold up. This is my women's video. Oh, here's my women's video. So, for women, where are we at? They went through emotional trauma and betrayal as well. So I did see in some of the men's comment, like, she left me for another man. But that wasn't as much compared to the women. The women were more like there was infidelity, emotional abuse, or financial strain. Even one woman said, "I no longer recognize the man I married. I feel humiliated because I feel so fooled," right? Some relationship can't take any level of conflict. Interesting. And that's why they need some more support. But I ain't opening up, though, especially if you're not opening up, Lucifer. Well, that says a lot about how you feel safe, and you don't feel safe in relationships. So women also talked about, they mentioned losing homes, jobs, or financial security after separation. I saw this one woman who was talking about how her ex-husband had quit his job where he made like $6,000 a month or something like that, and he went to go work like a regular job where he did not get paid as much because he didn't want to pay her $3,000 a month. And everybody was like, go get a job. And she was like, well, if I go get a job, I have like 3 or 4 children. I have to put them in daycare. Now I have to work 2 jobs in order to help my children through daycare. So there are some things that, divorce can get very bitter, and you can see the worst sides of people in divorce depending on why the divorce happened. So another one, they talked about financial struggles post-divorce. So several women talked about, they wanted to leave their marriage, but they felt stuck financially and they didn't know how to start. And that is another reason that is another reason why autonomy in marriage is very important, because we're not thinking about marriage in regards to divorce, but as a human being, you need to be able to know about your financial capability. You shouldn't just be relying on one man to take care of your finances and, do all these things for you without knowing anything about finances, because you're no longer autonomous. So that's why we're going to definitely have a whole conversation about self-actualization and autonomy in marriages, because that's a problem. From what I've seen and heard, that divorce stuff can get real messy. Exactly. Some women also talk about loneliness and identity loss. So again, through divorce, a lot of people shift who they are, how they see themselves. So people try to rebuild their sense of self after marriages. Again, it's people who talk about it's been years and they're still overcoming divorce after years. Somebody else said it's been 10 years now and I still have dark days, but you get through it. Again, some of the people are turning towards religion and spirituality for support and meaning. This is for men and women. And then for women as well, the viewers, they discuss stress, health impacts, and the need to protect their peace. So they have different ways of kind of developing after divorce. For men, they talk more about exercising, which makes sense because it increases testosterone. And then for women, they talk more about things like journaling, self-care days, things like that, walks and stuff. So they have different ways of coping and healing, but a lot of women that I've seen feel like growth is happening after marriage. Compared to men, more of the men are like, okay, this happened to me, she just left me. And then women are like, oh my God, finally I'm out of this divorce. I can grow. I can be better. This is what I'm seeing, right? A lot of women see divorce as a phase of rebirth. And men, although they are coming into understanding their new identity, they're not really thinking about it as a mindset of rebirth, of creating a new identity. So those are the things that I thought were very interesting. Now, those are just talking about divorce in general. We can talk about why someone should get divorced now. But the quote that I said earlier, where is that quote at? Okay, so the quote again said, a man sacrifices himself for his family's happiness. A woman sacrifices her family for hers. And I think this is so interesting, looking from the outside, looking into this conversation as someone who is not married, so I have no foot in the game. Listening to the people's, what they're saying. Why did I come up with this question? Hey, moving forward, why did I come up with this question? Have you considered divorce? So the reason why I came up with this question is because today's topic is divorce. So I'm interested in seeing who actually is considering divorce, because the audience chose this topic. So this month's topic, we're talking about marriage. We're talking about marriage, and we want to manifest a healthy, happy, long-term, till death do us part marriage. So this is one of the topics that we have to discuss. If we're going to be talking about marriage, we have to talk about divorce. We have to talk about divorce if we're going to talk about marriage. Hey, John, you said the divorces today are ridiculous. Some of them. You said, damn facts, women are vicious. Both for men and women. Men and women can be very vicious when it comes to survival. Because after divorce, mind you, we're only talking about a little portion of divorce. Where this is only a couple of hours of a live. Like, we can't talk about all things divorce. We could just talk about, like, some of the topics. So when it comes to that quote, I find that quote very interesting, that they say a man sacrifices himself for family's happiness, right? And a woman sacrifices her family for hers. Because most of the women that I was watching about divorce were saying it's been years. I've been thinking about this for years. It's nothing that just came up on me, right? This is what they're saying. So if a woman is saying something for years and there's no resolution to the problem, there's no compromise, there's no external support, there's no therapy being taken for the relationship, there's nothing to get you guys back into a union of alignment, and then they get stressed out and they start seeing this as, this is going to be the rest of my life. And they're like, I cannot deal with this. And then even on top of that, I've seen children who talk about divorce. Children, divorce affects children a lot, and that's not a topic that we have gotten into. But divorce definitely affects the children. And depending on what was occurring in the marriage, some of the children that I've seen, they're talking about, oh my God, thank God my mom left him. Thank God my mom left him. Versus, oh my God, my mom was a terrible person for leaving him, right? A lot of the kids that I've seen who talk about divorce are like, it's good, my mom left him, good for my mom. My mom's life is better because she left him. I haven't seen a lot of children, and this is not any peer-reviewed articles that I've looked at. This is just me doing information, looking at the information online, just looking at people talking online. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about them being upset with their mom for getting a divorce. Yeah, I haven't heard the best stories, so not a good reason for a divorce. Was not a good reason for divorce. From what I gather, women have a stronger support system around them than men do in times of divorce. Yeah, laugh. I agree. I've seen that for sure. Okay, shout out to Ghana. Moving forward, what's not a good reason for divorce? You said, like I said, if that man don't love the woman more than she loved him, it won't work. And that quote you said confirms that. Momo. You talking about Momo from Avatar: The Last Airbender. So the healing process is done quicker with the women, while the man can be in a deeper depression for years after his divorce. Yeah. I can see that, laugh. I can see that happening. So I think that the men see family happiness as we're still together. We're still married. We still live under one roof. This is just me, my opinion. And then I see women seeing family happiness as, am I able to be who I need to be for my family? And is this divorce taking away from me? Is this relationship taking away from me being able to be who I want to be in this for my children, for my family? That's how I see it. So I think that that's why a lot of women tend to be seen as sacrificing their family for their happiness, because it seems as if women associate their ability to be happy in relation to how they can tend to their family. Does that make sense to y'all? So I think that is one thing that I think that if men believe in that quote, and I'm not saying that quote is not right or wrong, but I do think that if men believe in that quote, my second question would be, well, what do you see your woman's happiness in relation to your family? Is there a time where you value your woman's happiness? Because I do believe that women are like an emotional thermometer for the home. So if the woman is not happy, then what does that mean for the household in general? Is how I think about it. And so sometimes I feel like women feel like they're sacrificing their happiness, and it's only indirectly causing disruption in their home, in their children. No, that's not what the quote means. Lucifer, what does it mean? Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Why are you doing it? Happy wife, happy life. Yeah, and I feel like people say that too. And like I agree, but I feel like when people say that, they think that a man's desires have to take a back seat. And I don't think that's how it should be. And I mean, at the end of the day, you have to know the character of the spouse that you have. Is my spouse going to take advantage of me? Right? Is my spouse going to care about compromising in my well-being? These are things that we have to think about before marriage, which will be another conversation that we'll be having, is how to prepare for marriage, what to think about before marriage. And we're going to do that later, because I want to get as much information as possible about marriage before we have a conversation about how to prepare for marriage, right? We want to prepare for why are most people getting divorced? Financial issues, not communicating about finances, hormonal issues, all these things, lack of communication, all these things. When we know all this information, then we can have a conversation about how to prepare for marriage. I don't really agree with the happy life, happy wife stuff. Both parties' happiness matter, and both are needed for a healthy relationship. Yeah. Woman will ditch her family for her happiness, whereas man will die for his family. Okay. The wife shouldn't be emotionally abusive, though. That's facts. Family happiness, that's facts. Hey, Tav, welcome back. Family happiness is key. Family happiness. So, I looked it up on Google, and they said it's a complex and often debated statement that attempts to encapsulate a perceived difference in the nature of male and female sacrifice in context of family. So it suggests the traditional view that a man's primary sacrifice is one of self-abnegation, which is giving up his own desires, time, or well-being to provide for and secure the collective happiness, versus a woman by making a choice that may disrupt or even dissolve. Hold up. The woman sacrifices often one of prioritizing her personal happiness or fulfillment by making choices that may disrupt or even dissolve the current family structure. Her sacrifice in this framing is directed outward to achieve a personal happiness that she claims as her own, sometimes at the expense of the existing family unit stability. So, interesting. Thank you. Thank you. So men are like, I'm going to work long hours. I'm going to take this job that I don't really work, and I'm going to endure hardship to make sure my family's happy. And then women are thinking more like, okay, I have to sacrifice my career. I have to sacrifice self-actualization. I have to sacrifice being in an unhappy marriage. So, happy spouse, happy, I don't know. Thank you. I don't know, y'all. So, reasons why people should get divorced. Y'all already know the first one. Abuse. Any type of abuse. Okay? Emotional, physical, especially physical. Many dynamics of marriage throwing children in is a huge shift, among other things. Facts. You said house? If both halves are aligned, everything is out of order. Oh, if both halves aren't aligned, everything's out of order. The children in the home, day-to-day life. Exactly. And that is the reason why couples should spend a lot of leisure time together. Spending time together, breathing, exercising, communicating. Spouse house. Oh, spouse house. I live in America. So, any type of abuse, and I do think infidelity is a form of abuse, especially consistent infidelity. Getting too married, I think that getting too married young, like getting married very young, is a reason. Because it's like signing documents drunk. That's how I feel. If you go and sign a legal document drunk, that document cannot really hold up in marriage. You literally sign a legal document without any knowing of what you're actually doing. So if your brain was not fully developed and you see that you guys are, and I'm not saying just because you were young, let's think a little bit deeper. Not just because you're young, but you're young and you and your partner have different life paths. You guys got married in high school. You guys were together since high school. Y'all got married at 21 years old. And now one partner wants to travel the world and the other partner wants to stay home, right? That's going to build a lot of conflict. One partner realized they don't ever want to have kids. The other partner wants to have children. It's going to be a lot of conflict that occurs. One partner never learned to deal with finances. The other person is building businesses. You guys are no longer on the same page. Is there a huge number of drug addict people in America? Probably, I don't know. Top, you say you married to the game? Okay, period. So, emotional or physical abuse, that means they are putting their hands on you. Thank you. He or she is putting their hands on you consistently with no regret and no accountability. Emotional abuse is definitely like shutting down, emotionally withdrawing, ignoring you when you're trying to communicate, gaslighting you consistently, lying to you, not prioritizing your peace and your safety. That's a big deal. I told y'all in the other live about the guy who left the girl in the elevator to go tend to other people. If you have a partner who's more worried about taking care of other people outside of you and him first, that is a big deal. And if y'all have to go through, let me reiterate this part again. You need to go through the steps before you just go and get a divorce. You need to go to talk to therapists. You need to go talk to somebody who's licensed to support you. If you are religious, you need to go talk to your pastor. Go talk to people before you just go and get a divorce. All right. Let me be very clear so I don't have people just going to take and run what I say. If you have not went through the steps of talking to your support system, you should not go and get a divorce. You should not do it unless it is physical abuse occurring. Okay. So you go and you first talk to your therapist, a licensed professional. Once you talk to them and you still cannot get it figured out, you go and talk to your family, your support system, your friends and family. I believe that married people should be around married people. So you go and you go talk to your married family and friends. People who understand the reason behind marriage and they value marriage. Go talk to them. Once you have talked to them, you need to go talk maybe to your children. Your children will tell you if they think that you need to be divorced. That's one thing that I've seen, that many kids were like, my parents need to be divorced, right? So that's your contact points that you need to go get support from. Your children will tell you what they think. I don't care about age. I think that your children should be included in the conversation because they will be directly affected by it no matter how old they are. You think you should marry people who have the same standards as you? I agree. Hey, cornbread. Okay, Gilbert. Okay. So once you have went through your support systems, then if you still cannot get on it, this is when you think about divorce, right? Infidelity is a reason for a divorce, right? Emotional, physical abuse, financial abuse is another thing. Financial abuse is one of them. I would say certain criminal convictions could be one, depending on why they went to prison. Now, sometimes you could be supportive if you were aware of their doings before, but if it was just like, okay, you went to jail, maybe they did something, they was doing something with the company and they went to jail, or they doing something illegal, that is a reason for you to rethink marriage if that does not align to who you are. If your partner, if you tried, and you went through all of your support resources and the communication skills have not gotten better, and you don't see it getting better anytime soon, that's a reason to think about divorce. Don't just go in and go get divorced. Start thinking about it. Communicate with your partner about if that's something that is necessary, and then go through with it. So those are a couple of reasons why, a good reason to get divorced. Um, and this is the main thing that I've come up with. This is not what I've seen online or anything, but this is, well, it kind of is, but this is the main thing that I saw as a reason to get divorced. When you get married, in my opinion, you're supposed to get married to someone where you guys are on the same page. That means you guys are moving in the same direction with your desires in life. Like Arif said, same standards for living, same type of lifestyle desire. Y'all know whose role is what, and you're okay with that. And you're also okay with the fluctuation of roles in the relationship. But you guys do have a main role and a main job that you guys do. If it gets to a point where the basis of y'all's relationship originally was, let's say this. You are someone, you got with your spouse, and your spouse said, I want you to be a stay-at-home wife, and you said, that's what I want to do too. So we're going to live in the lifestyle of you being a stay-at-home wife, and you're going to be the breadwinner. And the partner said, I want to be a stay-at-home wife because I have these values in raising my children, being with my children often, and being family oriented. And then the spouse is saying, I have a value in traditional beliefs. I have a value in me being the breadwinner. I have a value in these things. If you guys get to a point where the values have shifted for some odd reason, and you guys no longer align in those values, and now your partner is saying you need to go work, and you did not get into this marriage thinking that you would ever be working, now that shifts the agreement that you guys originally had going into marriage. Is that a tough situation? That's a very tough situation to deal with. But things like that, I would say, even, it's very, like, these are very tough things to even think about, honestly. But like, even if you are a man and you wanted biological children, like, and I'm being so honest, I don't like saying these things, but it's something that people have to think about. It's tough, but you have to think about these things. You are a man, you wanted biological children, and you wanted it to be directly from your wife. You get with a woman and she can't have children. How do you deal with that, right? How do you deal with that? Does that mean you have to get divorced? There's other options. You could go adopt. You can go get surrogates. There's other options, but that could lead to, should I get divorced? What was the reason why we got married? So you guys have to really have a lot of conversation before getting married, before thinking about getting into partnership forever. Because there's going to be certain values, and I think that's one of the biggest things, is that values are no longer aligned, or they're no longer communicated in a way that both parties understands. Snoop's wife, Snoop Dogg, I don't know anything about her. I don't know what's going on with her. You said if that's true, what do you think the wife should do? True about what? Who has some, I think, oh yeah, I read that. Meiana, you got some Spaniard in your blood in it. Spaniard? What that mean? Like Spain and Europe? Dead Jesus said bad advice. Tell us, if you guys do not agree, all you have to do is say, this is what I think about what you're saying. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. I recommend marriage counseling. It eliminates the partnership talking point and allows everyone to know their role. Yes, you said this and I agree. Spanish girl. No, I am black. I am an American. How to be happy. Go outside and get some sunlight. People married to ease there, but most of them end up with a mess life. Interesting. In front of the world. So what you think about Snoop's wife in front of the world? Okay. So that's all the research that I found when it came to this topic. Those are the things you want to think about, and I'll kind of do a little summary. This is what I'll summarize for you guys. She's what? For a stable, non-toxic relationship when he grew up. Yeah, facts. So a couple of things that before, and I'm summarizing. The necessity of reading newspapers. I don't think it's necessary. Just read a regular book. It's really hard for you. Why is it hard for you? Listen to you another time. Okay, another time, friend. Yes, and we did not even get on that topic, but divorce definitely does affect the children. But being in a bad relationship will affect them just as much. So that's you have to find a happy medium. Y'all listen to this TikTok story of this lady talking about her mom versus her stepmom. And this is why abuse is the #1 reason to leave a relationship. Without question. You don't need to go through any you don't have to go through any means, talk to anybody. If there's abuse occurring, that is the #1 reason to just leave. Abuse, and let me be honest, let me not be honest, let me be clear, because people will take what I say and then think, oh my God, this man got upset with me one day and he just started yelling, and they'd be like, oh my God, that's abusive. No, abuse is intentionally harming another person. Intentionally laying your hands on somebody, harming them physically, intentionally, emotionally disregarding their needs, is taking away someone's autonomy. Hey friend, it's taking away somebody's autonomy and ability to do for themselves. That is a sense of abuse. Not respecting somebody. Y'all, if y'all can see my son, come here, baby. Come here, baby. Come here, son. He's asleep. What was I talking about? I was about to say something. I got distracted. Oh, I was summarizing everything that I was saying. I was summarizing. And I was telling y'all a story. Hello, I was telling y'all a story. So the lady, she was like, let me tell y'all about my mom versus my stepmom. She said that her mom was with her dad. They had like 2 kids. And he ended up like becoming abusive in the marriage. Shout out to Tab. He ended up becoming abusive in the marriage. And so her mom left him. Like, you being abusive, I didn't sign up for this. Good day. Good day, sir. With the 2 kids, left him. So then he got with her stepmom. And she experienced the same abuse that her mom experienced. But the stepmom was like, I'm going to stay with him until the children are like 18. So she ended up staying with him until the children were of age. And then when they got of age, she got a divorce. She said that her dad committed euchanide. You know what I mean? Euchanide. And then her little sister walked in on it and found her dad deceased. And it created a lot of family trauma. Let's just say that. And she was just kind of, she seemed very like okay with it. She said it was like 6 months to a year since it happened or something like that. But I was like, oh my God. I think people should marry later in life because most people don't really know who they truly are until later in life. Yeah. I agree, around 30s, early 30s is a good time, I think. First time you heard that word, ukanide? I hope you know what I mean when I say that. I wish it was easier for me to find these videos for y'all when I talk about them. Hi, Scarlett. Self-care, what you mean self-care? Am I married? No. It's a made-up word, C-man. It's a made-up word. I just made that up. Ukanide. Just think about it. Ukanide, the first word is su. Su. Hey, Rena, baby. And then the middle word, the middle sound is I'd. Do I want to know why the divorce was hard? Of course. We're talking about divorce today. Lucifer, what do you mean self-care? You don't have a romantic partner. I am not in a committed relationship that is legally binded with a romantic partner. No, I'm not. Hello, crazy. Y'all, 17% say yes, they've considered divorce, 28% said no, and 58% said never been married. I like it. I think that is a good little percentage, honestly. At least it's not majority of the people saying yes, so I like that. My mom called the police because my dad threatened him. Okay, but my mom was actually, oh. Yikes. Did your mom go to jail? Thank you, Eli. Thank you. Did your mother go to jail? She cheated? Oh my God. Good reason to not get married. Thank you, Kendricks. My dad is nice, so didn't put the charges. She got to go to jail. At least for a day. She got to go to prison for at least a day. That's the... You should not play with somebody's character like that. Now, mind y'all, that is something that is definitely happening. Women be lying, y'all. Women do be lying. That is, I believe that as soon as a woman lies on you like that, and there's no like, like she's going through hormonal shifts. She literally, I don't know, she's mentally ill. Like if there's no real reasoning as to why she did that, that is grounds for divorce. Or that is grounds to go send somebody to go beat her up. Even the kids got to beat her up. Even the kids got to beat her up. She got to learn her lesson. That's not okay. Did you know in the Philippines it's not legal to get divorced? I heard about that. Because in my research, one of the ladies like, I live in the Philippines. I'm never getting married. I was like, oh, damn. Your mom okay, so we already see a disengagement, mom leaving the baby. She is something. She probably has a lot of traumatic things going on in her life. Praying for you, girl. Scarlett, you're the only one who needs the most support. If her father wasn't in her life, don't bother. Damn, never. What about men whose dad is not in their life? What do you think? Men and women. So men and women who never had a father. How about maybe if they didn't have a father, as long as they doing the work to be a better person, maybe that's when you can work with them. Maybe they learned and they surrounded themselves with good people. Maybe, I don't know. So, summary. Here's a summary of our conversation today before we end it. Mind you, this cannot encapsulate the whole conversation of divorce. This is just a little bit of a lot, right? We're just getting a little bit of a lot. So don't take this and make every decision about your whole entire life. Just think more about what could be going on in your own personal life at the end of the day, there are different age ranges where getting married at this age could be a higher indicator of divorce. It does not mean that you will get divorced. It just shows that there's a higher chance of divorce if you get married below the age of 25, or if you decide to get married over the age of 35 for particular reasons. If you do get married around these ages, you have to remember that you have to do work in certain areas. So if you're under the age of 25, you have to do a lot of work around financial communication with your partner. You have to do a lot of work on identity separately and as a union. And you have to do a lot of mature work as a partner. In over the age of 35, because divorce rates increase, you're going to want to do a lot of work on being adaptable and combining your life with another individual and compromising. These are things you want to think about, because those are when divorce rates are higher when you get married around those ages. 28 to 32 is a good time frame for people to get married, because you can focus on shared goals, you're more flexible, and you guys are more mature. That does not mean that that's going to stop you from getting divorced. It just shows that there's a lower rate of you getting divorced. On top of that, I think these people don't respect marriage or understand the importance of it. Yeah. A lot of people don't. And I mean, if that's their life, that's their life. We can't really help anybody like that. It doesn't mean that they're bad. I think that people should respect marriage, but if you don't want to get married, I don't think it's a bad thing. Just don't get married. There's a lot of people out there who's never been married. So kudos to them. We need people like that so we can see what's going on in other people's life. Not everybody's going to be the same. So we talked a lot about people's identity change after divorce. We talked about hormonal shifts, which can cause divorce around 40 to 50 years old. People who are just up and getting random divorces around that time could be due to hormonal shifts, or even when you're pregnant, there could be hormonal shifts that aid in partnership conflict. So when thinking about divorce, we have to think, are there any hormonal things going on? Any recent surgeries, any recent health issues, any life changes in general that could be aiding in an individual's hormonal shift that can change how they identify themselves. And we talked about the reasons to get divorced is consistent fighting, conflict, especially those that lead to emotional, financial, or physical abuse, infidelity, lack of commitment, lack of prioritizing the marriage in general, unresolved issues that just, even when you went through all of your support resources, they're just not being resolved. Long-term lack of intimacy, I would say like years, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and it's been addressed and it's still no change. All those things. Substance abuse, all those things. Criminal conviction, imprisonment, all those things. So those are reasons to get divorced or think about divorce. Social media has altered marriage, sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. Just friends to the end, forget the paperwork. Okay. Hi, Queen. Enough said, really. Okay. So that's the conversation for today. Remember, this one video cannot talk about everything about divorce, but there are some things to get people to start thinking. I didn't even mention the fact that divorce increases when the children leave the house. They call it empty nesters. That's another reason why people get divorced, is now their children are no longer with them. But, just always think about, what was the reason why I got married? Was it because I wanted children? Was it because I wanted love? We know that more often a love marriage does not last longer than a marriage that, what do they call it? I always forget the name of this for some reason. When your family marries you. Let me see, what is it called? Arranged marriage, that's what it's called. Mixed relationship, divorce. Okay. Look, mixed relationship. When you say mix, what type of mix? Mixed relationship, divorce. Is this like, I don't know if I've ever heard of this before. Divorce in a mixed race. Oh, mixed race can be complex. Okay. Suggesting a slightly higher overall divorce rate compared to same race marriages. Though factors like specific racial pairings and socioeconomic status also play a significant role. Why do you want to get married, Meiana? Well, first off, when I was younger, I never really thought about marriage. I was never one of those girls who like planned their weddings or anything, or even saw myself married. But as I get older and I realize the status, and I realize the partnership, and I realize the long-term benefits of marriage, I'm like, okay, why not get married? Especially if you find someone when you're on the same page. I've done enough work for myself specifically to where I feel like I feel safe enough to know and trust myself to pair up with another individual and trust that we can figure out things together. I don't have to do this by myself. And I don't want to be like by myself for the rest of my life. I don't want to have to go through multiple relationships. Like I like the idea of knowing someone is there, whether we're happy one day or not happy the next. I know that we made a commitment to be together, and that's what matters. Marriage should be endurance, though. What you mean when you say that? Another individual or a man? Lucifer, don't play with me. Arrange, thank you, Powers. Thank you, Queen. Learning coping mechanisms helps in marriage and other aspects of life. What causes divorce? I mean, so many reasons. So many reasons. It's not just one reason why people get divorced. It's things are so common now, like just, and who has the most money? More money, more privileged. Okay, Queen, period. You know I'm gonna do it. See, you said I don't trust myself. And that, okay. If I may, I'm aware that most women don't know that the original law of marriage is still in effect to this day. And that is when you become married, the woman becomes a man's property and taxable. You were just making sure. Bless her. Hey, Jose. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. But we are in a society, a patriarchal society. What that means is that the man is the head of the household and he is the one who is looked at in regards to the union in totality. He is the one whose name will be on, I mean, it's changing because it's modern day, but in the past it was more of everything was in his name. The children got his last name. The property is in his name. We pass it on. We're looking at him instead of the woman. That's why there's divorce. Human nature complicates things, yeah. Yeah. I just think that the biggest thing, I'm sorry, y'all. I just think that the biggest thing that people need to know before getting married is who they are as their own individual. I think the biggest word for me that I keep thinking about when I think about this topic is autonomy. That is one of the biggest things I think is autonomy when I think about marriages, doing a lot of this research. Are you able to emotionally regulate on your own? Are you able, when your partner is going through their issues, whether it's hormonal, whether they're going through their depression, are you able to provide yourself the emotional needs, provide your emotional needs to yourself? Are you able to be autonomous with finances, or do you understand what's going on in your partnership finances and in your individual finances? Do you guys have shared goals? So it's autonomy and then shared goals in marriage. That's what I think about. You have to be able to do it by yourself, but you also have to be able to create meaning and share it with your partner. That's what I think. I say your name differently than anybody else's name, Lucifer. Okay. Marriage is sweet and bitter, right? I don't know. I mean, I'm not married, so know the other person just as much as you know yourself. Exactly. And that's why we just talked about communication in the last video. We talked about communication can be a killer in your marriage. And if you cannot know your partner's nonverbal cues, which is going to be more communication than the words that y'all say, it's going to be hard to very difficult for y'all to understand each other. John, that's what Lucifer, he be on one. But we love you here, Lucifer. Hi, Bana. See, man, you said religion, attitude, families, attitudes, what you have, and earnings, money. These are the key parts of life. Make certain you choose someone that will not turn on you because they can't live their hype. They spoke. I want to divorce you even though we never married. Press the block button. Amo said, hey. Hey, Amo. We got a lot of votes today, y'all. That's 223 votes. So this is a topic that is people are interested in, I see. People are interested in this topic, y'all. So, but majority, half the people, more than half of the people said they've never been married. So this does not really pertain to them. 17% said yes. So let's see, how many people is that? 17 divided by 226. How do you do the math on this? Hold up. No, 17. Oh, I'm doing the math wrong. 17 divided by 100 equals x over 226. What is x? What is x? 38 people. 38 people. Thank you, Switchblade. You did that so quick. 38 people said that. So now it's 18. 18. So shout out to my 38 people. I hope this conversation helped. So that's about 40 people now. Shout out to the 40 people who said yes. I hope that this conversation gave you some insight before you make your decision. Hey, Timothy. Before you make any type of decision on things to think about before you just interrupt your marriage and your relationship. You said different people from different backgrounds and different brought ups. Yeah, that's why you got to communicate as much as possible. Autonomy is not as important as respect and responding honestly and understanding dialogue with your spouse. Okay. I've been divorced. It sucks. Tell us more, Mindful. Mindful Nomad. Was she a nomad as well? Was she a nomad? That's what we got to think about. Okay, thank you, Lamington. I'm not married, however, I do not consider divorce and will be self-sufficient until I find a level of respect I require that I already can and will reciprocate. But do you think that autonomy has to do with respect, y'all? Because I know somebody earlier just said that it's not as big of a deal as respect. To be autonomous, you have to have a level of respect, because that's where abuse can occur. That's why abuse is so important, because you're no longer respecting the individual as an individual. What y'all think? Hi. Also, after being married 21 years, please remember you have to learn how to argue respectfully within your marriage. We're spouses in our household, not partners. We're spouses in our household, not partners. Why not partners? Because it begins with the level of self-respect one has. Why y'all not partners? Why y'all can't be both? People continue to evolve even while married. Autonomy is important and best. Evolving can strain the marriage. Yeah, evolution is crazy. Your parents are divorced. How does that make you feel? Some people do have problems with communication and ability to comprehend. Man. Did y'all see the stuff that I posted in my community about communication? Let me see. Just in case y'all haven't seen it, I'll show y'all real quick. Oh, let me see. Oh, I might have deleted it. Hopefully I didn't delete it off my phone. Oh, dang, I deleted it. Yikes. Never mind. This is why. They get mad at each other a lot, and it's rough. Dang. Okay, friend. Shout out to the ice cream van in Europe. You said about the nonverbal, something like that. What you mean, Lucifer? What you mean, friend? Yeah, I said communication. Yeah, I said communication. Where's my do this? No. Home. What's that noise? I hear whispers. Friend, you must just be hearing stuff. I don't know. You hearing whispers is crazy. Here we go. Y'all see that? So here's one of the pictures. We talked about communication being key in marriages. And we talked a lot about, like Lucifer was talking about, nonverbal communication. It's very important to understand what your partner's nonverbal communication means through communicating and asking them. We talked about people's comprehension levels being different. One person says that it's a 6. The other person says it's a 9 due to perspective, right? So these are things that you really have to think about before marriage. You have to be hip to the fact that these people are not going to understand everything that I'm saying. I may say left and they think right. Here's another image that I thought was funny. The noise in my background. You may hear my cat's water fountain. He has a water fountain. She says, but you said he was all right. Yes, what does that say? He's lost his left hand. He was saying he only has all of his right hand. Look at his communication. Was it clear? No. Leads to communication breakdown. Divorce only separates the property obtained in the partnership. I don't think so, Queen. It separates the spiritual partnership. And we talked about spiritual partnerships and spiritual marriages as well. Go watch the video. Thank you, Nada. Go watch the videos, y'all. This is not the first video we talked about with marriage, y'all. Go watch the other videos, y'all. I like the spiritual marriage conversation, though. It was a good conversation. I like that one. On my first marriage, I knew it wasn't good, fit, but didn't want to end. Divorce is like a death in a way. You got to deal with it and move on with life, though it's painful. You know what's so crazy that you say that, GR, is that I remember there was this guy. He was telling me how he was divorced. And he comes from a collectivist background, like Middle Eastern. And I was like talking to him about, his previous wife. And he was like, he didn't want to be with her initially anyway. The only reason why he got with her is because his father, and he wanted to prove a point. So he stayed with her. And he never really wanted to be with her to begin with. And they ended up getting a divorce. And I'm like, a lot of people do know initially. It's an initial feeling. Some people be knowing like, okay, this is not going to work out. But they stay for whatever reason. Cord cutting sometimes can't break the hold. I'm still trying to figure out how to break some bonds, for sure. I'm trying to break some bonds. You said would rather be happy than unhappy. Yes, we all feel the same way. That's exactly what it is. I had to learn not to jump on my wife and she on me due to our personal upbringing and perspectives. This includes our thoughts on outcomes. Exactly. Look at this one. I thought this was funny. I hope it's not backwards to y'all. Is that backwards to y'all? It says, why would you take my dollar off the dresser after I already told you that I needed it for I'm reading it backwards, y'all. Give me a second. For the vending machine at work. He said, what the are you talking about? I did not take your dollar. The only thing I took off the dresser was the 4 quarters that was left over from doing the laundry. That one's crazy. That one's crazy. So miscommunication. Somebody said 4 quarters, the other one said $1. So they're thinking you said $1, so I'm thinking an actual dollar bill. I'm looking at quarters. You still carry bonds of your exes? I mean bonds in general, not just exes. Bonds in general. Bonds to the lifestyle that I have. Bonds to the home that I live in. Bonds to the things that I don't want for myself. I think humility is important. If it works out or not, we should just love people we tie not with. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I kind of agree, but it's like people are so damn ignorant that people make decisions ignorantly. I know somebody who I just found out is having a baby. They've been with their partner for over like 10 years. And when I knew them, I would not have ever suggested marriage or a baby. Because when I knew them, they were beating mothers up, beating people's moms up. They were pointing guns at each other. Physical abuse, emotional abuse, lots of abuse. And now they're having a baby. Now they're going to have a baby. You think they're going to get married? Do you think that they should split up after that? Who knows? People have their own opinions. Me, I'm like, y'all been together so long, you better not split up after you had that baby. You want to cut all that? I want to cut anything that's not supporting me. If you could read cards, tell me what your number is coming out so I can get rich. 2, if your husband said other women's eyes are beautiful in front of you, better learn how to deal with it before it happens in marriage. Exactly. Exactly, Lucifer. Very toxic. Welcome back, Jabron. Hey, friend. Hello, Joku Supriyanto. Now they gotta keep it in their home. Nobody want to take a whipping for their relationship. They was beating up people's mamas. I'm telling you the truth. Some moms should move away from due to time, but no need to be broken. Yeah, no, I want to break bonds. Break bonds to the food that I eat, to the sleep that I get. That's what I want to break bonds with. Break bonds to some of the bad financial mindsets that I have. Y'all make sure y'all like the video, y'all. If y'all on here, make sure you double tap. Thank you, Joko. $200, Steve. What you talking about? Hey, TV. Where are your magic cards? Y'all know I don't do tarot on YouTube anymore. I do need to change my heading. I need to do that. I keep forgetting. But I changed everything else. But I do not do tarot on YouTube anymore. Hi, Keeper. Break the bad bonds and habits. That was a super chat. Thank you for my imaginary super chat. I appreciate it. That's hilarious. Y'all are so funny. Okay, y'all. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we get off of live today? Anything else that you want to talk about? We talked about divorce. We talked about reasons. I kept the reasons really short because I wanted the information that I provided about divorce to be more on what is contributing to some of the divorces. But I did talk, I did give the reasons why people should get divorced if divorce is on your mind. Like I said, we can't go into every aspect of divorce. We can only go into so much. But, Adrian, I'm glad that I can give you some strength, baby. I hope all things go well. Jabron, you said don't leave YouTube. I'm not leaving YouTube, baby. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Not Oprah. Okay, I'm about to be rich like Oprah. But I like this outcome. I like seeing the poll. It gives me some hope. Hey, H-Town. It gives me some hope for sure. Y'all make sure y'all like the live before we get off of here today. If anybody wants to have any final conversations, let me know. I know tomorrow is Monday, so we'll be back on here. I think the topic that we came to terms with was, what was it? Where's my topic list? The topic that we came to terms with was trauma in relationships. Let me make sure. King said marriage is hard, but Bible doesn't say anything about being happy, but women leave off that feeling. Okay. Thank you, H-Town. Yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. I think that more people should definitely put their opinions in the chat. We accept all opinions, because your opinion, not opinion, but beliefs and opinions are important to know, because it gives us an insight of what's going on in different people's world. So don't be afraid to put your beliefs, even if my response makes you feel like she don't agree with me or she agree with me. You don't know what's going on in my mind, okay? So put y'all's opinions in here. I love to hear it. Put y'all's beliefs in it. Okay, so the next one we have, I think, was it childhood trauma and generational narratives in marriage. So that's the next topic that we're going to be talking about tomorrow, is childhood trauma and generational narratives in marriage. I think that is one that I'm super excited about. Super, super excited about, because I love to talk about how we are repeating cycles and how we're manifesting our life. We already know that manifestation comes with being intentional, but also we subconsciously manifest our life as well. And we do that because it's survival needs. We learn from the previous generations before us how to survive, whether it was a good way to survive or whether it was a bad way to survive. We know that the people in Russia be eating damn near jello, survival needs, right? And they love it. They enjoy it, right? Versus me as a black person in America, my survival needs will be far from jello. It's going to be some good home cooked Southern style meals, mashed potatoes, salmon, lamb chops. You found new friends that are better than wife or husband? Okay, period. I love that for you. So I'm super excited about it. You said, while the term partner is inclusive, modern, sorry y'all, my voice, and accurately reflects equality, the use of husband and wife or the gender neutral spouse carries significant non-religious meaning. So that's why I used it. Okay, rooted in legal commitment in the social institution of marriage. Okay. Thank you for updating us about that. You got some good topics, might have to subscribe. Not a might, you gotta subscribe. We're gonna talk about this for the rest of the month. We got a lot of different topics we're talking about with this. And we need everybody's input, whether you're married, you're not married, you want to be married, you never want to be married. We want to hear what you're talking about. I want financial freedom and good health because I want to work hard and build relationships I can't serve right now when I'm being kept down, like in a technological exodus. It's a technological exodus. Okay. Because manifestation crazy with the English. Manifestation is crazy with this English. What? What are you talking about? The key secular reason for maintaining these specific terms over the general partner lies in clearly communicating a legally binding public contract with a unique set of rights and responsibilities. So we need to say spouse, corporal. And your name is Corporal S.T. Smith. So you was either in the military or you heavy on the terms. We gonna say spouse. Thank you. I know, ain't it, Lucifer? In it? We love it. Okay, etymology. Okay, etymology. Okay, queen. We love etymology around these parts. So, and now speaking of etymology, that's one thing I completely forgot to do, is look up the definition for divorce on etymolon.com. Baby, I'm not sad, Jabron. I'm always happy. Happy for you. Divorce is just a legal dissolution of the bond of marriage. And the act of divorcing is to put away or abandon a spouse, to dissolve the marriage contract between the process of law. Thank you, because that is how I typically start out my conversations, is using some etymology to define what we're talking about, and I did not even do that today. Oh my God. You said manifold because manifestation is not your thing. Why not, queen? Tell us more. Manifold. I don't think I've ever heard the word manifold. Let's see. Pop Smoke? What? Automatic parental responsibility for children born during a marriage. Yes. That's why we have them laws. Manifold, of many kinds, numerous in kind, of variety, diverse, exhibiting or embracing many points, features, or characteristics. Many times. Interesting. UGR, I think that there is no reason. Maybe you'll change in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. I don't think there's no reason for it. That's what divorce is for. Fester, festering, festate, infested, infestation, infestation. Hello, the healing hearts. Okay, my friend knows I'm a Gemini. Period. So, Festus, let's look into it. Let's look into it. Let's look into it. To attack, assail, hurt, distress, annoy. That's infest. Where is this from? If you know, you know. Where's my cat? He's underneath my chair. Come here, baby. He's chilling. I don't really want to bother him right now. He's underneath the chair, though. Okay, shout out to the exams. I got to take a couple of tests today, too. I got a couple of tests to take, y'all. If y'all see that I look a little tired, because I'm so damn tired of doing homework every damn week. I'm so damn tired. I'm telling you. You know what I think? Now, this is just me doing a quick analyzing this term manifest queen. Thank you, Jeffrey. My cat is either a Scorpio or a Sagittarius. I don't know for sure because I don't know the exact date that he was born. But I think either way, he's perfect. But when I think of manifest, because infest means to bother. Where is it at? Where is it at? In the etymology dictionary, infest means to attack, assail, hurt, distress, annoy, to attack, disturb, trouble, threatening, dangerous, not able to be handled. Interesting. Oh, that's infest. No, that's the wrong word. That's the wrong word. I'm not looking at this correctly. Hit the bong. Oh, you must be here on my tarot days. This isn't, I don't know if this is what you mean. This is not a bong. This is a singing bowl. There you go. Okay, Corporal. Okay, thanks for the apologies. I don't know what you're apologizing for, but thank you. I don't know anything about what's going on in the Middle East. But I feel like it's always something going on over there since I was born. Why is there something going on for years? It's like a 30-year war. 50 years war. What's going on? Dell computer? HP. I don't know if that's Dell. I don't see Dell anywhere on here. I see Intel. This HP though. That tickled me. Sound bowl bong. Queen, now you got me over here. If y'all see me, I'm over here looking at my computer. I'm looking at Manifestus. Traditional divorce, possibly and possibly, should be an option if you desire. Oh, okay. Go to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to sleep. I pray that whoever watched this video today, there's a lot of things that you learned, and you can come to your own conclusion about your desires in life. Have I ever been married? No. I have not been married. No ring. Whether people agree with me or not, God never wanted divorce. If people truly understood what marriage was about, they wouldn't want to get married. Why would they not want to get married? Why not? Me coming to the conclusion, because I'm not the marriage expert, y'all, whatsoever. I'm just someone who enjoys researching and putting out the information that I learn and manifesting, right? So far, my conclusion of what the purpose of marriage is to build up a society. Marriage seems like it's not for love purposes, although that is a benefit that people get out of it. Marriage seems like it is to benefit the society in totality, to provide structure and order in a society. And through structure and order creates a structured growth and direction. That's what I'm getting. When you have communities of married people, they're more reliable, they're more predictable, all those things. This is what I'm getting so far out of my research. And then it supports the actual relationship in general, because now those people can pass on any generational wealth that they build, any properties. They're respected in their community, they have status, and there's a higher chance that the kids is theirs. What the hell? Mosquitoes are biting you, friend. You better go get some bug spray. So far, all I'm seeing with the Festus is Festus means solemn, joyous, festive. Solemn, joyous, festus. Are celebrating, feasting, and entertainment. To set and put up joy. Very interesting. Pain, peace, and pleasure. Am I married? Y'all, I'm about to get off here, y'all. I got some things to do today. I actually do got a couple of things I need to do, so I do need to get up and get out of here. Y'all think we can get to 60 likes? Have all my people like the video today? Tomorrow when I come on, we're going to talk about childhood trauma, generational narratives, and marriage. I do think that sometimes that could aid in conflict and not being able to get on the same page with your partner. So I'm super excited to talk about that tomorrow. Y'all think we can get to 60? What y'all think? Y'all tell me. I like prior to even commenting. Period, queen. Thank you, baby. Me too. If I had my other phone, I would go like it too. I'll go like the video when I get off of here, and we'll get the 60 likes like that. Oh, there we go. Thank you to my 60th like. I appreciate you so much. But I will see you guys tomorrow evening around 6:30 Central Time So y'all make sure y'all are here. Remember, if you want, book a 15-minute consultation with me. If you have limiting belief, you want to manifest something, you want to get bad bitches. You are a man, you want to get women, you want to get a better relationship with the woman that you're with, book the 15-minute consultation. I will identify at least one limiting belief within 15 minutes, and it will alter how you go about achieving your goal. So, thank you guys so much. I appreciate everybody who stayed with us throughout the live and commented and contributed to the live. I love having conversations with you guys. As a unit, we can come to a conclusion together about life, and that's what matters, is our shared understanding about the world around us. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.